G'day everyone, Gareth here from Organic Growing Melbourne. It's been a while since my last video, that's for sure. I've been so super busy with work and then getting some work done around the house as well. So apologies if everybody's been hanging out for another video. But I thought I'd do a winter garden tour. A little bit's been happening. We'll start off with the avocado tree, the Hass avocado tree. Again, fully loaded with fruit. As you can see, clusters of avocado everywhere. And doing really well. I have noticed this year the avocado are a little bit smaller than last year. I had some huge ones last year. These look as though they're going to be just an average size avocado. And also you can see the avocados all starting to bud as well, all starting to get ready to flower again. The only problem I've had this year with my avocado tree is getting a bit of leaf damage. We've had some really strong winds this year, and you can see the leaves are getting all shredded. But this is quite capable of taking on some pretty harsh conditions. Frost, heat, high winds, and remember last time I pruned all the bottom branches out because last crop the lower branches had avocados on it and they were all drooping on the ground. I had to prop everything up. You can see I've tied this branch there to get it off the neighbour's fence, and they're lily pillies. The lily pillies from the neighbour's fence, when it starts growing all new growth, gets infested with aphids, and I have to spray this whole hedge here because what happened is the avocado branches were hanging into these and the aphids were pretty much annihilating this side of the avocado tree. They were eating everything and just destroying it. So I ended up having to spray this whole hedge from the neighbour's side, on the neighbour's side here. So hopefully I'll control it a bit better next season. In fact, I don't think there's aphids on here now. We'll just have a quick look. They generally take all the new growth. There's definitely something eating it, but I can't see. Oh yeah, there's definitely something. So I'll have to spray this again. I don't want the avocado to get affected again. It really destroyed it. But again, look at all these buds that are coming out. In fact, there's some flower buds right here. Wasn't expecting flower buds. And then we've got a big bunch of avocados here. This will be frost damage on the fruit here. You can see here, the leaves don't really get affected by frost anymore. The orange tree, I've already started eating the oranges. I think there's only 4. And then we got this one left here. And then some new ones coming up too. This will start flowering soon as well. And then if you have a look at the bananas, they look pretty bad. That's all frost damage. But that'll all, as soon as the weather warms up, they'll look beautiful again. I do have to get rid of some of the pups that are growing here. Another one down there. I only ever have 3 growing for one plant. Davidson's plum, doing amazingly. I thought that would be brutalised by the frost, but it seems to have done really well. And the forte avocado. Still the possums just eat the top. I can't get it to get past the top of the chicken enclosure here, but still extremely healthy, extremely healthy. Not yet flowered yet. I think the chicken coop is probably causing the avocado tree to grow quick, get really green, but then not flower. It'll do it. It'll eventually get there. Apple tree. So I've already pruned all my fruit trees already this year. I didn't do any videos on pruning the trees, but I'll just show you what I've done on each plant as we go through the garden. The apple tree, anything growing into the chicken enclosure comes off, and then I'm trying to spread it across the front of the chicken enclosure. And again, I'm hoping to have the apple tree grow and protect the whole front of the chicken coop from the sun, and then the gateway, the apple tree will grow over the gateway, so we'll sort of have like a tunnel going into an apple tree tunnel going into the chicken coop. Here's the grapevine. This is the flame seedless, and I've pruned everything off except 2 main leaders, which will grow either side of the chicken enclosure, and I've pruned it right back to literally nothing. No branches coming off. It's all a matter of training it first rather than trying to get a heap of fruit off it, and it was too young to produce any fruit anyway. Here's the bacon. This was the experiment I did for all you guys that are interested in growing avocado trees. This is the avocado tree I put in the ground at about, I'd only had it for about 8 months old, and where I normally recommend in our area to have it in a pot for at least 2 years to grow a canopy first, so it protects your fruit tree, or sorry, your avocado tree. And as you can see, the flowers on this is crazy. This produces so many flowers, it's unbelievable. And this is the one that's produced fruit the first time in the first year. Look at that. Not quite touching the ground. I might need to prop that up later on, but as you can see, we're getting, look at the buds. I can't wait until this flowers and show you guys. It's amazing. Again, I'm refurbing all the garden beds. I've put some new ones in. I've put some mulch down. I've put some mulch down here. Just sort of make it a bit more comfortable. There's scoria underneath here, but I decided to put some mulch in it this year. And this is like a recycled pallets. As you can see, there's paint, but I thought I'd give it a go rather than, you know, letting it go to waste. I just thought I'd put some of this stuff down. I'm not growing anything in it, so except for weeds. Garlics, onions, all still going crazy. Going to try and preserve a heap of onions this year, pickle them. I'm going to pickle them and see how they go. I haven't decided what I'm going to put in here yet. That's all sugarcane mulch in there at the moment, and then I've got compost. That's looking pretty good actually. Looking really good, but I haven't decided what to grow in these two yet. I might wait. I might actually wait for the weather to warm up a bit, let this compost down, chuck some more compost in it, and start prepping it, getting it nice and healthy. Alright, we've got the cherries here. which I haven't pruned back that much. This is a Stella variety cherry. Although it doesn't say it's a dwarf variety, it's definitely acting like a dwarf variety in the growth rate. So I've decided not to prune it apart from the very ends of a couple of the branches. As you can see, last season that's where I pruned it. That's the only growth I've got. Some have grown a little bit more, but here again, last year's prune, and all that's grown are pretty much buds. So it's sort of got the characteristics of a dwarf variety. We've got the plum here. It's kind of struggling down here. You can see it's not really set in the ground, but again, this is the wettest area down here. It gets very boggy down here, and you can probably hear it. Sometimes even floods down here. I'm going to have to try and fix the drainage in this area, and what would help is like the trench I dug here, unblocking the pipes here just to get some drainage. I think when I built this garden bed, sort of created a little dam here, and it starts to flood here now. That's why I've elevated the avocado tree so it doesn't suffer from wet feet. So this is this is struggling here. It hasn't really grown much, but it should be okay. We come on across to the pear. This is the pear that had actually fruited in its first year putting in the ground. Grafted variety. Hopefully we'll get a few more pears off it. They were beautiful pears, they were. And then over to the ice cream bean. I did a video on some frost damage, and the ice cream bean suffered the most from the frost, as you can see. I mean, it looks dead. It really does. Like, every single leaf is brown. But do a little scratch test. That's pretty brutalised there. Then you come down and it's green. So this will come back as soon as the weather warms up. In fact, am I seeing? Yes. I'm seeing a little bit of new growth. A little bit of new growth starting to come from it now, as long as we don't get another really bad frost. And this happened after a 12-hour session of frost. 9 PM we got frost, and at 9 AM in the morning it was still frosty. So I expected a lot more plants to suffer from it, but this is the one that suffered the most. And this is the other pear tree here, where you can see we're at the end of July, and we're starting to get a little bit of growth from the buds. They all starting to push out. In fact, one's almost pushing out flowers. The apple tree, I had to cut down all this side here so I could get my spar out. Got rid of the spar, and got a nice little seeding area there now. Alright, let's go over to the other cherry tree. This is a hell of a lot older. This is probably about 6 or 7 years old now. Never really produced much fruit. I've taken the top off it, pruned it up a little bit. Hopefully we'll get a few more cherries. It doesn't look as though there's really many buds to produce any fruit, but last year I got about 5 fruit. It just wasn't worth covering it with a net for 5 fruit, so I just let the birds have it. Another plum here. This is the one I brutalised along with a nectarine, because they both suffered from brown rot. 2 years we lost probably about 60% of the fruit the first time it suffered from brown rot, and 100% on the nectarine last season. I just couldn't couldn't control it. And in the nectarine would suffer from the brown rot first, and it would be transferred over to the plum. And you could actually we actually harvested plums, and then we put them in the fruit bowl inside, and then they started getting affected there, and it started infecting the other fruit that was in the fruit bowl. So yeah, once you get brown rot, I think it's too late. There's nothing you can do. It just starts to spread, and spread really quickly. So I'll have to treat this area again. I'll treat all the mulch area here, and we'll see how we go. Got the strawberries still going. I mean, obviously not fruiting, but they seem to be doing really, really well here. So I'm going to keep them here again, and I will end up buying a big tower and grow my strawberries upright, and just mainly not for room, mainly to help from the strawberries rotting when they touch the ground. Pretty much, you can see the runners have started rooting and growing near the compost bin now, which is good. Even over here, it's growing underneath the mulch there. I think that might even be a runner as well, that one, I think. Oh yeah, so there's a nectarine. That hasn't... It did grow a little bit of new growth. Actually, you can see a massive bud starting to come out here now, so it's a good sign. It's going to be a couple of years before I get fruit off this again. There's some new growth right here as well. That's all a good sign. The graft is right down underneath this pot here, so all these branches are fine to come out. I obviously don't want them too low, otherwise the fruit weighs the branch down, and then it starts rubbing up against the mulch, start introducing all the pests. Alright, let's go up and have a look at the as you can see, been busy pruning the kiwi fruit. Didn't get much fruit off it because last season was the first season we got some fruit, but when I pruned it, I actually found one that had been sitting there, and oh, it tasted so good. Tasted really good. But like, as you can see, my kiwi fruit I prune really, really heavily, almost as like you would a grapevine. Well, pretty much like you would a grapevine, because a kiwi fruit will develop its flowers and fruit on the new growth. It's not like apples and pears and nectarines and plums that develop fruit on the previously growth branches. These will develop their flowers and fruit on the new growth. Old growth, new growth. Alright. So it's not really beneficial to have the kiwi fruit spreading over the whole entire trellis in winter, because the new growth you get off that will have to extend past that for you to get any fruit. And then if you prune it, you won't get any fruit because you'll be left with the year before's growth. I hope that just made sense. So there it is, 2 females and a male, and growing really well here too, and grow fast. You need a lot of room for kiwi fruit. I had this growing over to here, so it covered the whole lot. You'll see in previous videos. And if I pruned it after it had flowered. I must have pruned it 4 times through the season, and I swear to God, if I hadn't pruned it, I honestly reckon it would have reached over to the neighbour's house and gone to the top of their roof. That's how fast it grows. Very, very fast. You need lots of room for a kiwi fruit. Alright, let's go. Let's have a look at the dragon fruit. Obviously we're in winter, so we're not going to get much growth in the winter here, and this time of year they normally suffer from rust in the winter. And these seem to be doing okay because I've decided to bring them up here underneath the veranda, and you can see the top of that one actually has suffered a little bit of damage from the frost because it's touched the top of it there, so it's just lost the top there, but that's fine. That's going to grow back once the weather warms up. In fact, here, this particular one I pruned off because there was an insect living behind this when this was touching, and it had damaged the dragon fruit, so I pruned it off to get rid of all the rot. This is the new growth that's come out, and I'll train that up. Hopefully we'll get some fruit off it this year, and when we come into the end of September, I'll cut this one off here, cut the top of this one off, and same with the other one there, and then start encouraging that growth to umbrella over. Same with this one here. But really happy with these varieties. Okay, we've got ornamental ginger here purely for the flower it produces. So that's just ornamental. I'm not really one for ornamentals, but I really do like the gingers. They have amazing tropical feel, tropical look, and beautiful flowers. Miracle berry, yellow jabuticaba, and again, miracle berry has done nothing since I've bought it. A little bit of new growth, but one of the slowest growing plants I have. And of course we come over to the dragon fruit, which flowered last year, or last season I should say, and you can see the old flowers here. This is it's not a self-pollinating dragon fruit. I did try to pollinate it, but I just couldn't remember what variety this was, so it didn't produce any fruit, but it did produce some amazing flowers. But obviously when these ones start to flower, I will use that pollen to pollinate this one. Really happy with the way that's going. This really suffered from rust last winter, and it starts to rot and parts of it die back, but this will all get pruned again when we come into the end of September. And the end of September is the go-to for me because that's when we won't get any more frost. Yacons all gone, harvested. I gave a heap away to people to try because no one's really eaten Yacon, and some I just didn't get around to eating, so I just let them rot in here, and you can see some of my Yacons just produce so many. You can harvest them over such a long period of time as well. So pretty much a few weeks before winter, when they're all even still flowering, right up until now, you could still harvest Yacon now in winter. Obviously all the canes would have died back by now, but you'd still have the Yacons in the ground. Just a way to prolong your crop rather than just harvesting everything at once, because they'll only last for 2 or 3 weeks, and then they'll start to decay. And then we've got the other bananas here, all brutalised by the frost, but trust me, these will pick up again. There's a few pups that have poked their heads up. I'm going to have to get in there and pull all these out, cut them out. Still got the blue Java in the pot here. That'll probably have to wait until end of September to put in the ground. I'm thinking of taking the plum out and extending this banana plantation right up to the window here. And here's another plum here. This one's starting to push out, as you can see. It's starting to already push out. Look at this. Yeah. which is strange because last year that plum there was the first one, although that's been brutalised and it's not going to produce any fruit this year, but I'm sure that one started first last year. So we've got the tamarillos here, all still holding on to a heap of fruit, and again, tamarillos do not like frost, which is why it's lost pretty much all of its leaves, but this is all its new growth, and this suffers from the aphids as well. In fact, there's a few little tiny aphids just in there, so this will have to start getting treated soon as well. But it's coming back. We'll get a heap more new. We'll get a heap of tamarillos again this year. You can see all the new growth on this one as well. Looking good. We'll go over to. In fact, before I film this last bit, I've got to go in and change the battery. I'm just about to run out of battery, so bear with me. I'll be back in a minute. Alright, back into it. Got the battery changed. And we'll hit these ones right here. So this is the Chatut mulberry. This is the dwarf red variety. As most of you are already aware, I've given it a light prune. Although very small, produces a lot of fruit. And a lot of very delicious fruit. I would highly recommend anyone to get yourself a Chatut mulberry. If you don't have the room, the red dwarf. If you've got the room, the red dwarf and the white Chatut mulberry. The white being probably a little bit sweeter actually. We come along to the Grimy Chummer. This I thought would really suffer from the frost, but it seems to have done okay. Looking a bit yellow, but I think once the weather warms up again, this will thrive again. Same with the Brazilian cherry. This is another one I thought would suffer a lot from the frost. There's a little bit of damage, but overall it's done really, really well. I'm really happy with it. Really happy. I have to get out here and do some weeding too. It's looking pretty bad. I've got the Chirimoya here. Now again, obviously looking quite horrible. Again, frost, wind. The almond, we've got the dwarf almond here, which is starting to push out here. Maybe we'll get some fruit off it this year, who knows. It flowered last year, but it was the first time in the ground, so I wasn't expecting any fruit. Bamboo again. Bamboo was doing really well. This is one here from last season. Was doing really well, and then we got some massive strong winds, and I lost the tops of all of them this year. They would have towered above these old ones too. Each year it gets a little bit bigger, and you can see the ones that aren't going to make it, because when they're young shoots like this, they just don't have they just won't last in the frost. You can see here, this one here, they just see done. Another one there that just dies back. But yeah, it just seems to produce the bamboo really, really late in the season, and the temperatures are already dropping down. And here's another one here that you can see here, lost the top of it, starting to grow some new. They've got to get this big for them to withstand the frost. We've got the Jabadicaba here, that's the giant variety, the fruit being giant, not the actual plant. Starfruit or carambola, this is going to start losing its leaves now, and starts developing new leaves very late in the season. and I've sort of scattered my worm farms around so I could clean up the area up on the porch here. So I've scattered the worm farms around to different locations on the property now. But that's it. That's it. We'll just take you out to the vegetable gardens out here. I'll show you what I've done out here. I did a video actually not long ago on refurbing the asparagus bed, and I said that it would probably end up shooting out some spears again, which is exactly what it did. As you can see, they're not so much spears anymore. They're actually grown up into a fern now, but we're going to start getting potatoes. But we've got this is the one I refurbed with the compost. Very, very rich compost, worm castings, and you've only got to just open up the top here and you've got worms everywhere. But this was still composting down and was creating a bit of heat. You can see here, just move the straw out of the way, and we've got a new one here. Little ones here. But I'm not going to eat these ones. These will get cut back once they die off as well. And it won't be until you can see how it gets so cold. They just lose the tops and break off. But they loved it, absolutely loved it. Nothing really came up over here, I don't think. But I'm sure once the weather warms up, we'll get some. We'll be able to start harvesting about 15-20% of the asparagus spears that come up, and you spread that 15-20% over the entire growing period. So I'd leave the first few spears that come up to grow into ferns, and then when another one comes up, take 3 or 4 out, let some more grow into ferns, take a few more out. Then the following year you can do a little bit more until you can pretty much harvest the majority of them. Haven't decided what I'm going to put in here yet. I don't really grow that much in the winter, to be honest. It's a bit cold and miserable out here, and I probably should have done some Brussels or cabbage or something, get some more broccoli in. I've grown broccoli obviously, but we've eaten it all. I'm going to try and grow these out, get them to flower and seed, and maybe I can start growing from my own seeds rather than having to buy them all the time. Eating all the lettuce. This one's a bit old now, so the chickens will devour that. But it's going to be very soon. I'll be refurbing everything and start. We're getting close now. We can start preparing for spring, I guess. And I'll try and grow some more perennials, I think, this year as well, to save on refurbing all the time and having to get new seedlings. Last thing is the ginger here, which is obviously all dying back. Did pretty well actually this year. I might leave it for another year before I harvest any ginger. Got to keep on top of this. This can really take over this stuff. Just why I've put it up on the retaining wall, just to contain it a bit. Alright, that's the end of the video, guys. I'll probably do another video in about a week. I want to try and start posting more videos now. I do apologise, I've just been so busy, and not just with work, just with lots of other things as well. And it's harder. We just had a week of pretty much continual rain. Couldn't get out here, and it's while we were in lockdown number 5. Yeah, we can't go anywhere at all. Can't even go outside because of the weather. So it's good we've had a day now where we've had no rain. I'll take you into have a look at this avocado, but I don't want to let the chickens out at the moment. Sort of keep them inside. Probably got a few eggs I could probably need to get though. Alright everyone, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to leave a comment below. I do enjoy reading everybody's comments, and I try and get back to everybody. I try and actually write a message to everybody that leaves a comment. Alright, take care everyone. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.